Hi friends, in our last session we have completed with design procedure of a multi-speed gearbox. In today's session we will see examples based on this design procedure. This is Faizan Kagdi and I welcome you all to our lecture series of machine tool design. So let's begin. Now let us see the first question. This question has been asked in exam. So let us see that. For a 2x2 gearbox transmitting power which has a minimum summation of diameter where d is the diameter of a shaft, which layout is a better layout? Which means in this we would say that it is a 4-speed gearbox, 2x2, which means z is equal to 2 cross 2. Okay, 4-speed gearbox. Now we need to determine that which structural layout or which structural diagram is the best diagram having a minimum shaft diameter. Now the most important condition is that we can obtain a minimum shaft diameter only by means of a node method of optimization. Okay, we have discussed this node method of optimization in our last session. So let us begin with the solution. So as you can see, I have written z is equal to 4, which means 2 by 2. So obviously in this case, speed steps in each stage will be equal to 2, which means p1 is equal to p2 is equal to 2. Now we have the possibilities of a structural formula is 2. That is, two possible structural formulas can be formed. Okay, so you can see on your screen z is equal to p1 x1 into p2 x2. Okay, so this is the first structural formula, and second possible is z is equal to p1 x2 into p2 x1. Okay, so according to the first structural formula, the equation will become 2 1 into 2 2, where over here x1 will be 1 and x2 will be equal to what? P2. X2 will be equal to, sorry, x2 will be equal to p1. Okay, so this p1 is how much? So it is 2. Okay, similarly in this case, p1 x2 into p2 x1. So obviously in this equation x1 will always be equal to what? 1. So over here I have placed 1. Okay, and x2 will be how much? So x2 will be equal to p2. So over here p2 is what? It is 2. Okay, so two structural formula has been formed. 2 1 into 2 2, and second one is 2 2 into 2 1. So we need to determine that which structural formula will give the best layout, that is the best structural diagram. Okay, so over here you can see I have drawn a first structural diagram based on our structural formula 2 1 into 2 2. So according to this, I have already discussed that over here there are two stages. So this space represents stage 1 and this space represents stage 2. Now according to that, how many horizontal lines we need to draw? So we would say z is equal to 4, which means 4 horizontal lines we need to draw. So you can clearly see 1 2 3 and 4 lines have been drawn, each line representing a speeds. Okay, now over here how many shafts we need to plot? So we would say the number of shafts will be equal to n plus 1, which means n is equal to 2, so the vertical lines will be 3. Okay, so over here first line, second line and third line. So first line is of input, second intermediate, and third is for output shaft. Now we need to give a numbering. Okay, so we need to give a node. So these are numbers are called nodes. Okay, so you can see I have plotted over here first node, second node, third node, and fourth node. Okay, now while plotting this rays, or we would say a diagram, from where we need to start? So we are going to start from the intermediate position. Okay, so intermediate position is which one? So in between node point 2 and node point 3. So from this point we are going to start. Now how we can draw the line? So we would say there are two speed steps available. In stage 1, two speed steps are available. Okay, so how many lines will be there? So there will be two lines. So one line is going to move in the upward side, indicating a step up in a speed, and second line will be in a downward side, reducing a step down in a speed. Okay, each line, remember, each line is going to represent a gear pair. Each line is going to represent a gear pair. Okay, so one gear pair and this one is a second gear pair. Okay, now at how much distance these two lines has to be kept? So we would say x1 is equal to 1. So at a distance of 1 unit. Okay, so you can see this position, this represents a 1 unit. So over here 2 1. Okay, now we have arrived at an intermediate shaft position. From this point what we need to do? So we require two speed steps. You can see in this stage 2 speed steps are required, and these speed steps are separated by how much units? So 2 units. Okay, so from this point draw one line in upward side. Remember, always we need to draw with respect to this horizontal line. So one line in upward direction and second line in a downward direction, but we need to keep in mind that distance between these two lines should be how much? So we would say 2 units. Why 2 units? Because x2 is equal to 2. Okay, similarly from this node point, can I say that again we are going to draw two lines? So one line is the upward side and second is the downward side, and distance we need to keep equals to 2 units. Okay, so this is a structural diagram which we have formed for our structural formula 2 1 into 2 2. Okay guys, now next we need to plot a structural diagram for our second structural formula, that is 2 2 into 2 1, this one. Okay, so let us see that. So as you can see on your screen, I have drawn the same type of a diagram. Now over here, first stage it is 2 2. Okay, which means 2 speed steps at a distance of 2 units. Okay, which means again we are going to start from a median position. So we have taken over here median position. You can see one line is in a upward side and second line in a downward direction. Okay, indicating one is a step up in a speed, second is a step down in a speed, and even this line is representing a number of gear pair. Remember, number of gear pair. So this is a one gear pair and this is a second gear pair. Now at how much distance we need to keep this line? So we would say at a distance of 2 units. Okay, so you can clearly see that with respect to this median, this would be a 1 unit. Okay, over here, and with respect to this median, this would be a second unit. Okay, so total how many units? 2 units has been placed. Now similarly, we have arrived at intermediate shaft. Now from this shaft in a second stage, how many speed steps are available? So we would say 2 speed steps are available. But at how much adjacent distance? So at a distance of 1 unit. Now starting from this node point, that is this one. Okay, so one is in a upward side connecting intermediate shaft and a output shaft. Okay, and second is in a downward side. And at how much distance? So at a distance of 1 unit. Similarly, you can see from this node point, I have drawn a two rays representing 2 speed steps, one in the upward side, second is the downward side, and at a distance of how much? So at a distance of 1 unit. Why? Because x2 is equal to 1. Okay, now we have drawn two structural diagrams corresponding to two structural formulas. Now we need to determine which is the best layout. So as the condition has been mentioned in the question, that a condition to get a minimum sum of diameters can be verified by a node method of optimization. So as you can see, I have shown a table of a two diagrams. So first column is of a structural diagram, second is a node on a transmission line representing shaft 1, shaft 2, shaft 3, and third is representing summation of node numbers. So over here you can clearly see I have given numbers, that is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this represents a node number. And last we are going to see the remark that which is the best. So always remember that a summation of node for an optimum structural diagram should be minimum. Okay, summation of node points should be minimum. So how we can check that? So let us see the diagram A. So in diagram A, on shaft 1 the node number is 2.5. so let us verify that. Okay, now you can see over here the node number is what? So in between 2 and 3, which means this is what? 2.5. Okay, now second, on an intermediate shaft this node point is what? So we would say it is 3. Remember, we need to trace the ray diagram, okay, to determine a summation of nodes, okay, for optimization. Always remember, because we require a minimum shaft diameter, so always we need to track the bottom line of a structural diagram, okay, for node optimization. So you can see over here I have taken this line. This is the bottom line. So on an intermediate shaft, node number 3, and on an output shaft it is node number 4. So over here you can clearly see that for a shaft 2 I have written 3, and for a shaft 3 I have written 4. So the summation of all the nodes is equal to 9.5. Similarly, we can see for a structural diagram B, over here you can see shaft 1 node is 2.5, shaft 2 node, that is intermediate shaft node, is 3.5. You can clearly see this line, okay, this ray diagram. So it is 3.5, and shaft 3, that is our output shaft, so the point is at node number 4. So summation of these nodes gives us 10. So which has a minimum summation of nodes? So we would say a first diagram has a minimum summation of nodes, so it is representing a optimum structural diagram. Okay, so this is how we need to use a node method of optimization in order to get a minimum sum of diameters. Okay guys, so I hope that you are clear with this numerical. Now let us proceed further. Let us see the next question. So as you can see, the question is displayed on your screen. A two-stage 6-speed gearbox is to be designed for a machine tool drive. The spindle speeds ranges between 150 rpm and 1000 rpm. The second stage consists of 3 speed steps. Over here in this question, it is already mentioned that in a second stage, how many speed steps will be there? 3 speed steps. Okay, so remember, 6-speed gearbox, which means the structural formula will become 2 into 3. Okay, now if the gearbox is driven by a 5 kilowatt 1000 rpm electric motor through the belt drive, so first we need to draw a speed diagram. Second, we need to draw a gearing diagram. Third, we need to determine number of teeth on a gear. Fourth, we need to select the diameter of a pulley for a belt drive. Now you would be given the standard diameters of a pulley. So it is given, you can clearly see 80, 90, 100 and so on up to 500 mm. So these are the standard values of a pulley which we have to use for a motor shaft and a input shaft for power transmitting from a motor to the input shaft. So since we need to select the diameters of a pulley, so these values are given in the data. Okay, now let us begin with the solution. So first of all, we need to mention the data. So you can clearly see what is given. So in a data, 6 speed is given. So Z is equal to 6. Maximum is how much speed? So we would say maximum is 1000 rpm. Minimum is how much? So 150 revolution per minute. Now motor rpm is already given. So motor rpm is how much? So it is run by 1000 rpm motor which is taking a power of 5 kilowatts. So power P is equal to 5 kilowatt. So since we know these steps to design the multi-speed gearbox, so in that first step is to determine the range ratio, that is Rn. We know the formula for a range ratio, it is equal to Nmax by Nmin. So we have determined the range, that is 6.667. Okay. Next we need to determine geometric progression ratio, that is phi. So since we know the relation between phi, range ratio and number of speed steps, that is phi is equal to Rn raised to 1 upon z minus 1. So we can clearly say that we can determine phi. So it is equal to 6.67 raised to 1 upon 6 minus 1. So the answer of phi is 1.461. Okay, so by using this equation, we have determined two terms, range ratio Rn and phi. Now let us proceed further. Let us see the next step. Now we know that we need to list out all the spindle speeds ranging from n minimum to n maximum. Right. So you can see I have drawn a table over here representing a 6 spindle speeds. N1 is equal to n minimum, which is equal to 150 rpm given in the data. N2 is equal to n15 equals to 219.15 and so on. N3, N4, N5, N6. So you clearly know the formula by using a geometric progression technique. Okay, that is N6 will be equal to N1 phi raised to phi, or you can even find this N6 by using our normal formula, that is N6 is equal to N phi into phi. It is one and the same. Okay, so the final rpm which we have arrived is n max equals to 1000 rpm, which is given in a data. So we can conclude that all our spindle speeds are in proper geometric progressions. Okay, now our next task is to determine a number of stages involved in our gearbox, right? So we need to determine that. Why? Because we need to draw a structural diagram. Okay, so since we know the structural formula, Z is equal to P1 into P2 and it is given, it is equal to 6. So we can factorize in multiple of 2 and 3. So it is going to become 2 into 3. Okay, now over here it is directly mentioned that our that in a second stage the number of speed step will be how much? So it will be equal to 3. Okay, so we can say that Z is equal to 2 into 3 is our fixed structural formula. Otherwise, if it is not given in a data that in a second stage the number of speed steps are 3, then we need to determine a different types of structural formulas. That is, one of the combination is 2 into 3. Second combination would be 3 into 2. Right. Then even we need to interchange x1 and x2. Right. We have seen that type of technique in our last video. Okay, in that we have determined several combinations of a structural formula, but in this question it is directly given in a data that in the second stage the number of speed steps will be equal to 3. So remember, we need to take P2 is equal to what? 3. Okay, now let us see further. The structural formulas for is given by this equation. Now since we know that Z is equal to P1 x1 into P2 x2. So we always know that x1 will be equal to 1 and x2 will be equal to what? So x2 will be equal to P1. So in our case P1 is what? So it is equal to 2. Okay guys. So the equation will become z is equal to 2 1 into 3 2. Okay. Now let us proceed further. So we have found out the structural formula. Now, corresponding to this structural formula, we can determine a speed diagram, that is speed rate diagram, right? So this first, this three shaft, you can clearly see input shaft, intermediate shaft, and output shaft. So this portion represents our structural formula. Okay. Now, since we know the difference between a speed and a structural, in a speed diagram, we need to add a motor shaft, right? And it has been given in a data that a motor RPM is how much? So the motor RPM is 1000, which means in this case the number of horizontal lines z will be equal to the number of horizontal lines will be equal to z, that is our number of speed steps. Why? Because the maximum RPM of our gearbox and a maximum, that is a motor shaft speed, is same. Okay, that is motor speed is 1000 RPM and even our n6 value is 1000. So these lines will be equal to 6. Okay, now how many vertical lines we need to draw? So we know that n plus 2. Right. So plus 2, why plus 2? So we would say one of the vertical line is for a motor shaft. Okay, so first line motor shaft, second input shaft, second one is for a intermediate shaft, and this last one is for a output shaft. Now we always need to remember that we need to plot the RPMs starting from a bottom position. Okay, whereas we are plotting the node number from upward side, that is 1 2 3 4 up to bottom, up to 6 are the node numbers, whereas whenever we write the RPM we need to start from a bottom side, that is n1 on a bottom line, n2, then after n3, n4, n5, and so on, n6. Okay, now let us plot this diagram. So since we know that motor is running at 1000 RPM, right, but our input shaft will always be at a lower RPM, that is at a median speed, right, that is, let's say, ni speed. So for that we need to step down the speed. So you can clearly see that this line is representing that our speed has been stepped down from 1000 RPM to the median speed of an input shaft, that is how much? Ni. This ni is equal to 387, that we have found out, and we'll see how we have determined that. Now from this point, can I say that this is our first stage, and in this stage there are how many speed steps? So two speed steps. You can see 2 1 is written, and these speed steps, adjacent speed steps, are at a distance of 1 unit, right? So drawing one line in a upward side and second line in a downward side, indicating a step up in a speed, and second line representing a step down in a speed. But distance, remember, we need to keep 1 unit distance. So you can clearly see that from this line, upward line is touching the n4 RPM and downward line is touching n3 RPM. Okay guys, so this is a representation of 2 1. Now from this node point, can I say there are how many speed steps in a second stage? So 3 speed steps are available. Okay, and each speed step is at a distance of how much? So you would say at a distance of 2. Why? Because x2 is equal to 2. So you can clearly see that from this point, first of all you need to draw a straight horizontal line. So this represents that one of the speed is the same RPM which is transmitted from intermediate shaft to the output shaft. Okay, this horizontal line represents that one of the gear pair is transmitting the same RPM. Okay, now second line in upward direction representing that second gear pair is transmitting or increasing the speed, which means step up of a speed takes place. And this third line representing that a step down of a speed takes place up to n2. Okay, this line representing a step up to n6. But remember, distance should be how much? So these two lines, you can clearly see I am showing by a cursor that these two lines is a distance of 2 units. Okay, similarly this line and this line has a distance of 2 units. Why? Because x2 is equal to 2. Similarly, from the second node point, can I draw similar lines? So you can see this first horizontal line representing same speed is transmitted, that is how much? N3. This second line representing that a step up of speed takes place. Okay, up to how much? So N5. And this bottom line representing that a step down of speed takes place, but at how much speed? So N minimum, that is N1. Okay, so at a distance, remember we need to keep a distance of 2 units. So you can clearly see this line and this line has a distance of 2 units. Similarly, this line and this line has a distance of 2 units. Okay, so this is our entire speed diagram. Okay, now from this speed diagram, we need to draw our kinematic gearing diagram. So this diagram you can clearly see is called a gearing diagram. So you can clearly see that over here there is an electric motor which is a power supplement, and it has a diameter, let's say the diameter of motor is DEM. Okay, and this is our input pulley which is connected to our input shaft. Okay, so let's say its diameter is DI. Okay, we clearly know that we need to select the diameter of a pulley, that is DEM, and DI we need to determine. Okay guys, so remember this is DEM which is the electric motor diameter, this is DI which is a diameter of a pulley connected to the input shaft. Okay, so you can clearly see over here this horizontal line, this line represents the input shaft, that is I have written 1 over here. Okay, so correspondingly see this diagram. Okay, over here that is the input shaft. Similarly, second line is a representation of a output, intermediate shaft. Okay, so you can see this line is a intermediate shaft line, and a third line is a representation of a output shaft. And we know that output shaft will be connected to what? So it would be connected to a machine tool spindle. Okay, remember it will be connected to a machine tool spindle. Okay, now how we need to decide that on input shaft there will be two gears. So you can see I have shown two gears, right? So see the stage one. Okay, in stage one you can clearly see that there are two lines. Okay, so as I have already told that each line is a representation of one gear pair. Each line is a representation of one gear pair, which means this is a one gear pair and this is a second gear pair. So you can clearly see on an input shaft how many gears I have shown. So two gears. So this is forming a one gear pair and this is forming a second gear pair. Now as you can see I have shown by this horizontal double arrow representing that this gear on an input shaft can slide. Okay, so this is a sliding gear. Okay, whereas the gears which are mounted on an intermediate shaft are the fixed gears. They are fixed on its position, they cannot slide. Okay, remember wherever there is a arrows in a horizontal direction representing a sliding motion of the gears. Okay, now how we need to decide that? Okay, so this is the first stage. Okay, you can clearly see this is the first stage where two speeds will be transmitted. I hope that you are clear with that. Now further we need to draw this diagram. So how these gears have been drawn? So we need to see this second stage. So you can clearly see in this stage from this node point how many rays are coming. So we can clearly say that three rays are coming, right? This is ray 1, this is ray 2, and this is ray 3. Each rays are representing that there is a step up in a speed at a particular point, then there is a equal speed transmitted, and another represents that there is a step down in a speed. So since I have told each ray or each line is representing one gear pair, so there are how many lines corresponding to one node? So you would say there are three lines, which means three gear pairs are there. Okay, so you have to draw three gears on intermediate shaft. So you can see gear 1, gear 2, and gear 3. Okay, and on an output shaft again, since we need to mesh all these gears, so corresponding gears will be how much on an output shaft? Again, three gears. Okay, so we need to form a cluster gear. Remember, we need to form a cluster gear in which all the three gears are interconnected. Okay, so that they can slide together. Okay, so you can clearly see that when I am going to mesh this gear with this one, so one of the speed will be transmitted. When I'm going to mesh this median gear, so we would say another second speed will be transmitted, and when I am going to mesh this gear with this one, okay, so third speed will be transmitted. So three speeds will be obtained from a second stage, which is fulfilled over here. You can clearly see three is written over here, right? Okay, now when I'm going to shift one gear in a stage 1, so I would say three combinations of speed will be obtained when I'm going to shift this pair. Okay, and when I'm going to shift to the second gear pair in a first stage, so second another three combinations of speeds will be obtained, right? So total how many speeds has been obtained? So we would say 3 plus 3, which means 6 speeds will be available at our machine tool spindle. Okay, so in this way we need to draw a kinematic diagram. Now over here I have given numbering, that is Z represents the number of teeth. Remember, Z represents the number of teeth on each gear. Now we also need to find out the number of teeth, right? So we are going to give the labeling to all the gears. Z2I, which will be meshing with Z2O. Now on our intermediate shaft, in meshing with the output shaft, we can say that there are three gear pairs. right? So we can say that Z3I will be in meshing with Z3O. Similarly, Z4I will be in meshing with a Z4O, and Z5I will be meshing with a Z5O. So remember, Z over here is a representation of a number of teeth on each gear. Okay. Now let us proceed further. So our next task would be to determine diameter of a belt pulley which has been asked in a data. So let us say that Ni is the speed of an input shaft, Nem, since we know that is the speed of an electric motor shaft, Di, as I have discussed, diameter of the belt pulley on input shaft, and Dem is the diameter of belt pulley on an electric motor shaft. So all these diameters are in mm, remember millimeter. Okay. Now from this structural diagram, can I say that we can form one of the formula? So first of all, we need to determine Ni. Over here, I have written directly Ni, but we need to find out Ni is how much. So how we can do that? So can I say that distance between two horizontal line is how much? So we would say log 5 to the base 10. But distance from this line to a median would be how much? So we would say it would be log 5 to the base 10 divided by 2. Okay. So we need to form this, we need to determine this intermediate speed. Okay, in between this point speed. So how we can do that? So for that, we need to write that log n I to the base 10 is equal to see this speed. Okay, so this speed is log n3 to the base 10. So we need to add how much value? So we are going to add log 5 to the base 10 divided by 2. So the equation is going to become over here. You can see from this diagram log ni to the base 10, or we can directly say that ln. In a calc you need to select ln, because in the calc you would be given log to the base e. Okay, so for log to the base 10 we need to select ln. Okay, so over here you can consider this as ln ni is equal to ln n3 plus ln phi upon 2. Now n3 we know from the diagram, that is we have determined it is 320.5, and phi we have determined that is 1.461. So substituting all these values, we are getting ni is equal to 387.4 revolution per minute. Okay guys, now since the circumferential velocity has to be remain constant, that is we are going to consider a case without a slip. If there is no slip, so we can say that the velocity transmitted will remain constant. So we can use our formula, that is pi dn by 60 directly. So it is going to become pi dem nem by 60 is equal to pi di. Okay, over here you can see di ni by 60. So from this equation, can I say that it is going to become nem upon ni is equal to di upon dem, right? Now in this equation, we already know nem is how much? 1000. Ni is how much? We have determined ni is 387. Okay, now we are going to see the ratio. So the relation is going to become di is equal to 2.581 dm. So we have found out the relation between diameter of a input shaft pulley and diameter of a motor pulley. Okay, now we are going to use this equation to determine the diameter of our pulley on an input shaft. So since we have already seen that a standard diameter was already given in our data, you can see I have written again over here the list of standard diameters 80, 90, 100 and 112 up to 500 mm. So we are going to choose step by step one value of these diameters, and we are going to see that which is the most feasible values. Okay, so if I am going to take dem is equal to 80 mm, so by using our relation which we have found out, di is equal to 2.581 into dem, we can say dem into 60. I am going to multiply this and the answer will be 207 mm. So you can clearly see that 207 mm is not present in the standard diameter list, which means we cannot choose this one. Okay, simply we cannot choose this diameter. Now considering a second, so 90 mm. So in this case of a 90 mm, I'm going to take, so di coming is 232. Again, this is not available over here. Similarly, if di is 100, I'm taking 100 mm from this diameter list. So di is coming to 58 mm, again which is not available in this list. Similarly, I am taking DEM 112 mm. So DI coming is 289.1, which means approx 290 mm, which means over here you can clearly see it is available in a list. So the feasible diameter list and a diameter of a input shaft pulley would be 290 mm, and that of a motor pulley should be how much? 112 mm. So this is our answer. DEM is equal to 112 mm and DI is equal to 290 mm. Okay, now one last task is remaining. We need to determine number of teeth. So how we can do that? So let's proceed further. So now for determining number of teeth, we are going to use our equation of a circular pitch. Since we know you would have studied in theory of machines, that is pitch, circle, diameter and all, right? That is a terminology of gear teeth. Okay, so from that we know the equation that pitch is equal to pi d by z, right? Now for proper meshing of a gear, we can say that the condition is pi d1 by z1 should be equal to pi d2 by z2. So from this equation we can clearly say that d1 by d2 is equal to z1 by z2. Okay, so this is one of the relation. Now second, since we know that a circumferential velocity transmitted should be same, neglecting the slip. Okay, we are considering that there is no slip, since we know that gear drives are the positive drives. Okay, so it is going to remain equal. So from this equation, can I say that the equation will become d1 by d2 is equal to n2 by n1, right? So this is first equation is giving a relation between a diameter of a gear and a number of teeth, and a second relation is giving relation between diameter of a teeth and a rpm. Okay, so from these two equations, can I say the equation can be written as z1 by z2 is equal to n2 by n1, right? So remember, this equation is the most important which we are going to use while determining number of teeth. Okay, now there is one extra formula, that is we know module of all the gears, the modules should be same, right? So the equation of module m is equal to d by z, where d is a diameter of a gear and z is a number of teeth. Okay, so you have to remember this equation, that is d will be equal to mz, d will be equal to mz. Okay, now let us see for the first stage. Remember that we are going to use this formula, z1 by z2 is equal to n2 by n1, to determine the number of teeth. So you can clearly see that in this first, you can see the kinematic diagram. So now input shaft, you can see z1i is of a smaller size, z1o is of a bigger size, and z2i is of a bigger size, and z2o is of a smaller size. So in this first case, there will be a step down in a speed, and in the second case, there will be a step up in a speed, right? So can I say that corresponding to this, in a structural diagram, this upper line is representing a step up, which means it is corresponding to z2i, and a lower line is representing a step down, which means it is corresponding to z1i and z1o combination, right? So over here you can clearly see that I have written the equation, that is z1i upon z1o, using this one. Okay, using this one, z1i upon z1o is equal to, now see, since it is a step down, so you need to see this downward arrow for this. So corresponding to this, how much is the speed? So speed is n3, that is 320.5 rpm, right? So over here you can see I have written 320.5 rpm upon 387.4 rpm. So corresponding to this point, initial point, it is how much? So 387.4 rpm. So the relation we get, z1o is equal to 1.209 into z1i. Similarly, can I say that for z2i upon z2o, since it is a step up in a speed, you can see from this gearing diagram, step up takes place. So I can say this line will be this. Okay, so corresponding to this line, the speed is how much? So we would say n4, that is 468.5 rpm. So over here you can see I have written 468.5 rpm upon initial is how much? So initial speed is ni, that is 387.4 rpm, right? So the ratio again going to become z2i is equal to 1.209 into z2o. Now since we know that module is going to remain same for all the gears, so this is a parameter to avoid interference. Module has to be remain same for proper meshing. So this is a case. Now according to this, we have our equation, that is for same module we need to consider that z1i plus z1o. z1i plus z1o should be equal to z2i plus z2o. So from this relation, can I say that we are going to get another relation, that is z1i is equal to z2o. Okay guys, so I hope that you are clear up till here. Now let us proceed further. Now if z1i is equal to z2o, so I am going to consider that minimum number of teeth should be 18. Okay, remember we need to keep this in mind, that always we need to assume a minimum number of teeth 18. You can assume 18, 21 or 22, but minimum number there should be how much on a gears? So 18 number of teeth should be present. So in this case I have considered 18. Okay, so since we know that z1i is equal to z2o, so I am taking it 18. Now by using our relation, that is we know z1o is equal to how much? So it is equal to 1.209 z1i. So the equation will become 21 point, answer will become 21.76, that is rounding off, it is 22. Okay, so we have determined how many number of teeth? So we would say Z1I is equal to 18, Z2O is equal to 18, and even we have determined that is Z1O. How much? 22. Similarly, can I say Z2I can be found out? That is, our equation is 1.209 into Z2O. So it is going to come 22. So from this we can say that for a first stage we have determined number of teeth for each of the gear pair. That is, Z1I is 18. So Z1O is output is 22. Similarly, Z2I is 22. So Z2O is equal to 80. Now let us see the second stage. So for a second stage, it is very clear. In this diagram, you can see that the 3i, that the first pair, that is Z3i and Z3o, are going to transmit the same speed. Okay, I'm considering the same speed is transmitted. The second case, Z4i and Z4o, so we can say that step down will take place. So we can say downward arrow is corresponding to this Z4i and Z4o. Okay, and this last, that is Z5i and Z5o, you can clearly see that Z5o is of a smaller size, which means a step up will take place. So can I say that corresponding to a second stage, this upper line is for Z5i, right? This lower line is for Z4o, and this median line is for Z3i and Z3o. Okay, so remember this, you need to remember this. Okay, so for this I have written over here Z3i upon Z3o is equal to 468.5 upon 468, which means a horizontal line. So it is equal to 1, which indicates that Z3i is equal to Z3o. Similarly, Z4i upon Z4o is equal to 219.5 upon 468.5. So in a similar manner, as we have seen in the first stage, I have written for a second stage. Okay, so I hope that you are clear with this concept. Now by using this relation, we get Z4o is equal to 2.13 Z4i. Similarly, for our third gear pair, that is Z5i upon Z5o, it is equal to 1000 upon 468.5, which is equal to 2.13. So the relation is Z5i is equal to 2.13 Z5o. Now since the modules has to remain same for all the gears, so it is going to become Z3i plus Z3o is equal to Z4i plus Z4o is equal to Z5i plus Z5o. So since the relation we know that Z3i is equal to Z3o, so over here I have added both of them and replaced by Z3i, so 2Z3i. Okay, and the second is it is equal to Z4i plus Z4o. Now since we know the relation, Z4o is equal to how much? So it is equal to 2.13 Z4i. So over here you can see I have substituted the value of Z4o, so that it is going to become Z4i plus 2.13 Z4o is equal to Z5. Now Z5, again we have determined this from this relation, that is equal to 2.13 Z5o. So it is equal to 2.13 Z5o plus Z5o. So the final relation you can clearly see that Z4i is equal to Z5o is equal to 0.639 Z3i. Okay, so from this we need to keep in mind that initial number of teeth, that is of a smaller size, will always be 18. Remember, 18 is a minimum number of teeth we need to keep. You can keep higher value, that is you can consider even assume 21, 22, but minimum you have to assume 18. Okay, so over here I have taken Z4i is equal to Z5o is equal to 18. So corresponding to that, we can use this relation and we get 38 for Z4o. Okay, similarly we can find out the relations, and I have found out all the values of this number of teeth. Okay, so all the relations are same, and just by adding this we are going to get that since 56, 56 and 56, indicating that the modules are going to remain same. Okay, so corresponding to these three, Z3i we are getting 28, Z3o we are getting 28. Since same speed is going to be transmitted, so number of teeth will be same. Okay, Z4i is equal to 18, Z4o is equal to 38, and Z5i is equal to 38, and Z5o is equal to 80. Okay guys, so I hope that you are clear with this numerical, and in similar manner you have to solve numericals for different speed steps. That is, it could be given in a data 4 speed steps, it could be given 8 speed steps. So accordingly you need to determine the and draw the kinematic diagram and determine the number of t. Okay, so in today's session we are completing with our chapter, and in the next session we will start with our new chapter, that is control system in machine tools. So till then, stay tuned and thank you all.